Okay, grade 9. So we're ending, this is outcome 4, the last bit. But I just want to review again what we did yesterday. So if you're writing names or formulas for ionic moleculars, they look very similar, but there is a very, very distinct difference. So ionic has a metal and a non-metal. Moleculars have two non-metals. So like sodium chloride is a metal right away, so I know it's ionic. Here it starts with a carbon, so I know it's a molecular, and that makes a difference in everything. For ionics, when you're naming it, you just write the name straight off the periodic table, change the ending to I. For moleculars, though, you have to use the prefixes, mono, di, tri, tetra. So you have to be aware. If you're not aware of this, you could accidentally call this carbon oxide, or if you're not aware of it, you might call that sodium monochloride, which it is not. Okay, so this is sodium chloride. This is carbon dioxide. Now, the formulas for molecular is very easy. The prefix tells you what it is, like S2O4 disulfur tetroxide. You could see in the name the numbers, right? For the formulas for ionic, you have to, it's not hard, you just have to remember you have to set up your balancing the charge, and there's your little I again, which when I taught you in class how to use those. And so what we'll do is we'll go to the next page. So you don't have this in your notes, but you could follow along. Okay, and so I'm just going to work our way through this. And I like blue. So first you have to do is see is it ionic or molecular. Well, because it starts with sulfur, it's molecular. I'm going to write it down like that.
Great, Kevin.
Right? Right away, by writing it down like that, I know I have to use my must use, right? M for molecular, M for must use my prefixes. So it's going to be SCl trichloride 3. The next one starts with the metal, so I know that that's my ionic, and then I have to balance it out. So K plus Br minus, and my formula is just K Br because it's already balanced out. Next one, magnesium chloride. Magnesium is a metal, so I know it's ionic. Because it's ionic, I know I have to draw this with my I in there, and it's Mg2 plus Cl minus, but I need another Cl minus to balance it out, so that gives me MgCl2. Next one, I could see phosphorus, so it's molecular, so must use prefixes, and there it is, di tells me P2, oxide tells me O, and tri tells me 3. Next one, aluminum, it's ionic. Okay, and so if I'm going to be writing this formula out, I need to balance the charge. It's ionic, so I got aluminum 3 plus, S2 minus, another S2 minus, another Al3 plus, another S2 minus, and there it's balanced now, so it's Al2S3. Starts with sodium, so it's ionic, and so I have to do my balancing this out first. Sodium is Na plus. Thiosulfate is a complex, and so I'm going to grab my periodic table and find thiosulfate S2O3 2 minus on the very end. S2O3 2 minus. So this is also an Na plus, so I got Na2S2O3. Okay, now I'm going the other way. Starts with the C, so I know that that's molecular, so it's carbon dioxide. I have to use the prefixes, must use the prefixes. Starts with the metal, so it's ionic. So this is easy now. Sc is scandium. Oxygen becomes oxide. Starts with the non-metal, so it's molecular, so I have to use prefixes. So this one's dinitrogen tetraoxide. Starts with the metal, so it's ionic, so I don't use prefixes, so it's just calcium cyanide. Next one starts with the metal, so it's ionic, right? So once again, you just have to write out, it's magnesium sulfide. Next one starts with metal again, so it's ionic, and it's lithium phosphide. And so hopefully that helps clarify it when you get the mixed questions. All right, the last thing I need to show you is we're looking at word equations. So this case we've already done before. RAP, right? Reactants, arrow, products. Reactants are on the left, arrows in the middle. Product is on the right side of the arrow. And so this, here's my reactants, right? And then on this side, there's my products. Reactant, arrow, product. I'm going through this pretty quick because we've already done this before. Okay, so water, so hydrogen and oxygen are my reactants on that side, and the reactants is water. Here, those are water, and there's my product, which is hydrogen and oxygen. Remember, we had the 7 clues that indicate a chemical reaction has happened, okay? And so we've done that over and over again. And here's some more RAP, reaction arrow products, in our notes. Okay, and so here you can see those are my reactants. There's my arrow. There's my product. So my product is silver bromide. My reactant is, in this case, silver and bromine. And so now you need to write a word equation. Okay, so this is a word equation right here. Grade 9, that's what you're responsible for. The silver plus bromine, arrow, silver, bromide. The plus does not mean you're adding them together. The plus is acting kind of like a comma. So you have silver and bromine as your reactant, and you have silver, bromide as your product. And then there's chemical equations as well. You have the ability to do this. Silver is Ag, bromine is a Haber-Finkel, so it's a Br2 formula, and then silver bromide balanced out by charges like this. But if you look at it, you'll notice the atoms aren't balanced. There's one silver on this side, and there's one silver here, but there's 2 bromines there, and there's only 1 here. And so we can change the coefficients in front of it to make it balanced. So now you can see 2 silvers, 2 silvers, 2 bromines, 2 times bromine. And so what does that mean? It means 2 silver atoms react with 1 bromine molecule to form 2 silver bromide molecules. Okay, and so balancing equations is actually grade 10 work. So let's look at some practice with word equations. So here, we're doing reactant, arrow, product. So magnesium reacts with oxygen. So that's my reactant. So what do? I go magnesium plus oxygen. Now I need my arrow. And then there's my product, magnesium oxide. Magnesium oxide is on that side. It's pretty easy. You're not responsible for chemical formulas for this, just the word equations. Next practice, sodium chloride is formed. Well, that means it's a product. The reaction of sodium and chlorine, there's your reactant, there's your product. So sodium plus chlorine, arrow, sodium, chloride. Okay, reactant arrow product. Just the word equations, nothing more. Iron reacts with copper 2 sulfate. So there's my reactants, right? So I just go iron plus copper 2 sulfate. Reactant arrow. See, there's product. So there's my 2 products. Copper plus iron 2 sulfate. That's the last one. That's the last one. Right? Pretty easy. And so there is an assignment that goes along with that for you to do. And there's another practice worksheet that you could do right now. And then, I could put the answer for this. I'll do one. So salt and water are produced, right? And that means it can be on the product side, salt plus water. Remember, you're not allowed to use the word and, it has to be the plus sign. The reaction of hydrochloric acid, so hydrochloric acid plus sodium hydroxide. Okay, pretty simple. Once again, no ands. Figure out what's reactant side. Oh no, that's not reactant side. That's product. That's reactant. Write your word equation.
Grade 7,
the arrow.
return to class.
And use pluses to separate them. This was an interesting one. So how can you do this? Figure this out. Let's see if I can make this that so you can see all of them. Maybe. Nope. So now you can see all of them. So if you actually have to do this was a question that I made for one of the PATs. You have to be logical about this. And so this is less of a chemistry question, more of a logic question. So which ones can you figure out right away? Well, you can figure out this one right away. There's only one of those models above that has two of them in there, right? So that's going to be a 1. And that means the triangle is equal to a hydrogen. Now you have 3 more to choose from. I don't know whether this one or this one is H2O or H2S. So what I'm going to do, right, because it doesn't help. The triangles tell me they're both H2 something. But look at this one. This one here has 4 atoms in it, right? So that one has to be SO3. So that means my square, so I've got that one done. That means my square is sulfur, and my colored in circle is oxygen. Now that I know my circle is oxygen that's colored in, I know that this one here is H2O, so I can put that as 3, and I know that the triangle represents, the square represents sulfur, so I know that this one is got to be H2S, choice 2. So the answer is 3, 4, 1, 2.
Grade 8, this is the start of your break.
And then finally, I'm going to go through and show you how to balance equations. This is grade 10 material. So if you don't want to watch this, you don't need to. So basically, atoms cannot be created or destroyed, and total atoms have to be constant. That means the number of atoms you start with should be the same as the number of atoms you finish with. The amount of mass you start with should be the same as the mass you finish with. So let's go ahead and analyze this. So I have Li on this side, right? And there's only one of them. I have Cl on this side, and there's also one. And I have bromine, but there's 2 of them. So let's go ahead and look on this side. So lithium on this side, there's only 1. Chlorine, I'm just going to keep the order the same so I don't get confused. Chlorine, there's 2 of them. And bromine, there's 1. So right away, I could see this and this are unbalanced. So I can balance by changing the coefficients. So I'm going to start with chlorine here and get the chlorine balance. So I'm going to put a 2 in front of here. By multiplying by 2, I now have 2 lithiums. I'll fix that in a moment. But now my chlorines are 2. So my chlorines are balanced. Next thing I'm going to go after is my bromine. I see I have 2 bromines on the left side and only 1 on the right side. So I'm going to, this time, multiply by 2 over here. So that means my lithium will become 2. I'm going to fix that in a moment. Now my bromines are 2. All right, now let's go back and fix the lithium. Oh, look, it has fixed itself. So I've got 2 lithiums, 2 lithiums. I have 2 chlorines, I have 2 chlorines. I have 2 bromines, I have 2 bromines. That's a balanced chemical equation. If you took the extra worksheets, you do have some that you could try on there. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. And that should be, and it is, that is the end of the chemistry unit. And so I'm going to stop sharing. So you have all the notes. You should do really well. It's the easiest unit of the year.